right before the trees. That's the last remaining part of the Ottawa House Hotel. Unfortunately, it burned down twice. The second time in 1917, and after that, Mr. Fishing sold off the plots of land to 50 families, rendering Fishing Island a private residential island. They are so private, in fact, they're not serviced by the Casco Bay line. People out here either have their own personal vessel or they make use of a privately hired ferry service on a smaller lobster boat. So there are no longer any payments. It's well, rental, now no pay. Built his home and completed it in, like I said, 1910. He was a railroad tycoon. He owned the Grand Trunk Railroad. Unfortunately, he was unable to enjoy our home for very long. He was also a passenger aboard the RMS Titanic who did not survive the sinking. However, his wife and pregnant daughter at the time did, and spent the rest of their summer enjoying that unit. It's going to be coming up here on your right. It's the red home with the dark roof and chimney. The last house you can currently see. It's now shared by 85 of his direct descendants. So they come from all around the world. And, point out a flagpole to you. They say the flag is flying and Jesus home. And you can see flags from all over the world. Who saves the American flag? That home has a very humble 9 bedrooms and 6 bathrooms.
Ngườiอยู่นี่เดินเช็คชีมีเก้าห้องนอนครบห้องน้ำสิบต่อกันมาเป็นโชคคนงามทุกห้อง
Fishing Island is also a seasonal island, strictly. So the electricity and running water to this island are off during the winter months. There's one caretaker of the island for 3 days, so I'll put out the house in just a moment. And here comes that flagpole. Looks like someone is home, and that is the American flag. So the red home that'll be to your right in just a moment. That's the caretaker's home. And just above it is the white home that also belongs to a
เรื่องของ
railroad
คน
tycoon.
ที่
The owner or part owner of the
วรบัตร
Pennsylvania
บรร
Railroad.
ดาเงินทั้งหลาย
Lost
อยู่ในโพ
there.
สต์
That home was also completed in 1910. John Thayer was also a passenger on the RMS Titanic. Unfortunately, he also was unable to enjoy that home for very long. He was, however, survived by his son Jack, who while on an overturned lifeboat before rescue, did he witness the Titanic break into 2 pieces. White Star Line, the company that built the Titanic, did not exactly want to publicize, so his claims were denied, and then eventually he was proven correct when he found his 2 pieces on the ocean floor. Fortunately, he didn't get the satisfaction of fixing his thought he was proven correct, but he was. So back to the lobster buoy. If you're not familiar with lobstering practices, I'll fill you in just a little. You may have noticed they come in a number of colors and patterns. Unconventional, lobstermen are required by the state to register their color and their pattern or both. They're required to register that with the state as well as display it on their vessel, which helps ensure that they are in fact pulling up their own stuff, which is imperative if you for being the first island in the Casco Bay with a house called.
Casco Bay นั่นแหละชื่อ
That was in 1623, and that building was originally a trading post.
16 ปี
This island is now privately owned by a company called Portland, S-O-R-T.
1613งานหลังทางหน้า
So you might be able to see, yep, there's a yurt that's quite visible. There are a number of tents and
400-500 ปี
structures
สร้าง
and
ให้
buildings. You can enjoy those via Airbnb thanks to Portland, but only if you are not fairly attached to running water and electricity. You guys also might have noticed we saw an identical looking bastion of this fort on the other side. That would have been the east bastion. It is one continuous structure, so a reasonably sized fort. That other side that we just passed was the only fort to fire a cannon shot ever in the USA. That was during the year of 1812, when to your right that opening to the open ocean, a British naval ship came through that passage, thought the fort was abandoned, fired a test shot, they were fired back at, and ended in a very quick U-turn. That is the only part of that war that our state saw. The earthwork on top of the fort was put there intentionally as a form of camouflage. It also keeps the interior temperature of the fort at or below 55 degrees Fahrenheit. So here shortly I'll be able to see a couple of houses on House Island. One of them was the distribution overflow station. House Island was referred to as the Ellis Island of the North during the period of 1907 to 1937, when immigrant ships were diverted here because Ellis Island was frankly too busy. So people were sent here, submitted their paperwork, and helped to be checked out. And if all went well, that ship was cleared to go all the way into Portland Harbor so that the passengers could begin their new life in America. At the end of the island, there's a white tent. I don't know if that's a 4th of July celebration or a wedding. Okay, so they're not typically there. There's some sort of special event going on. Thank
เส้น
you,
สอง
Captain
กับ
Dan.
ฟังขึ้นมาก็จะได้โป้งมาเบิ่งอันนั้นคือดอก
To your left is a pretty cool panoramic view of the city of Portland. And then coming up on your right in the distance past House Island is Peaks Island, which if you have the chance to visit while you're here, I highly recommend. The round trip ticket on the ferry is less than $15, I believe. So you can enjoy Peaks Island Lobster Company, as well as summer that they have to happen every Sunday reggae fest. You can experience the world's largest
มากินมากิน lobster
on Peaks Island, and there is in fact a museum dedicated to such a thing. Not the umbrellas fleet. There are no slot machines. There's nothing Vegas about it. But it was put there by the realty company with the intention of wining and dining people, because it was a gathering place for fine dining, dancing, live music, so that they could show off their properties for sale on the island. It was a successful tactic. They sold them all. It's quite a short period of time. They also took the liberty of renaming those from the Hog Islands to the Diamond Islands. One might think from a realty standpoint that's a bit more of an appealing name.
มีคนนึกอยู่ที่เรือไปเนาะ